You step out of the elevator into the central hub, taking a deep breath of relatively fresh air. The air handling system usually coped well when a room got too hot or humid, but in a small room like the bridge, that kind of mugginess could quickly become overbearing. You're glad to be down here. Doing up the last button of your shirt, you follow up by tying your tie in a full Windsor. As you thread the length of the wide end through the knot, you pause and rub the fabric between your thumb and forefinger. Memories of how it felt to be bound by this material intrude into the forefront of your thoughts. You force these memories from your mind and finish sliding the knot upwards. You got what you wanted. Vanessa had stayed true to her word and returned your access to the armory. Now all you had to do was use it. You'd get the gun, show the chief, and then get past that terminal. That was all you had to worry about. Well, she'll get her comeuppance. Grimly, and focusing entirely on what you're doing, you take your card out of your pocket and run it through the reader next to the terminal. The relief of hearing your access being granted encompasses you as you step into the armory. Now let's see. Okay, we need guns. You peer through the glass of the weapons locker, looking at the various guns available to you. Eventually, you decide on a submachine gun like the one Hansen was currently swinging around. At the very least, it'd put you on a level playing field with him. You got a submachine gun. Alongside the weapon, you grab a shoulder holster, taking a few minutes to put it on and adjust your jacket so that the ensigns won't be able to immediately spot your gun and start asking questions of why you're armed. Satisfied, you close the door. Part of me wants to just march up and threaten the captain, but no, we need to be... Get that emotion, get the better of us. We need to be strategic here. Alright. Chief, eh? You approach the chief, who's leaning over an exposed piece of machinery, looking exhausted, her sweat glistening as it reflects the myriad overhead lights. Hey, Chief. Let's fix the injectors. Another test should reveal if the condensers have... Chief! Oh, you're back. You better have something to show me, otherwise you're gonna be seeing whether the boson condensers can condense lieutenants, too. Wordlessly, you open your jacket on one side, showing your holstered submachine gun. Yeah, that'll do it. Can't tell now you got your hands on that one, Lieutenant? It was not easy. I'd rather not. Well, deal's the deal. Guess you were serious after all. Come with me. The chief lays down the tool she'd been holding and wipes sweat from her brow with the back of her gloved hand before heading further down the gangway. You're so deep into the engine room by the time she stops that it's almost impossible to make out the figure of Dalton in the distance. Not skipping a beat, the chief motions to a terminal next to a small door. Looking to get around one of these, right? You glance at the terminal the chief gestured to and nod. Yeah, I mean, it looks the same at least. They're all the same. It's a combination digital physical security unit JUCF used to manufacture loads of these back in the day. I've produced them though, so when someone came up with a better system, there were huge amounts left over. Didn't make sense to waste them, so the JUCF's been using them in low security facilities or on ships where they're not expecting any problems. Right, so how do I get past it? Well, first, the chief lays her hands on the edges of the device, her thumbs resting on the screen whilst she grips the sides with her fingers. She then yanks it with tremendous force, pulling the entire screen and a portion of the terminal's casing away from the main unit, leaving it attached to the rest of the machine's innards by a long ribbon cable. Okay, that's the first thing you gotta do. Now get over here. You move closer, observing the mass of electronics contained within the exposed interior of the terminal. Oh, it's a minigame. These things work by redirecting power to the door whenever it scans the right clearance on a keycard. The power is transferred through these nodes. If you rotate them, though, you can get the power where you want it to go. Give it a shot. Okay. So this has got to rotate, and then this rotates, and this rotates, and then... no, that... Okay, so that has to go there, that has to go there, that has to go there. This can go up then. Then this turns us back around. This can go this way. You go here, and there we go. After some trial and error, you rotate a final component and watch the door beside you slide open. Not bad, Lieutenant. Once you're done, all you need to do is reset the nodes and clip the lid back on. That'll do it for you? Yeah, thanks, Chief. That should be everything I need. Alright then, I've gotta get back to it. Guess I gotta take a look at Dr. Rosarium now, huh? Be careful, Lieutenants. You're doing a good thing, but don't get yourself killed. Well, I'm armed now, so... You got it. You got it, Chief. We'll talk to Dalton before we go. Just gotta get him up to speed with what's going on. As you approach the cadet, he remains totally unaware of your presence, despite your steps echoing out into the vast expanse of the room. Instead, his focus is fixed on some calibration or another, as he constantly adjusts controls underneath a series of digital gauges. You're unable to tell if he's making progress, as the impact his actions are having is completely indiscernible to you. Hey there, cadets. What? What? Dalton, hey, take it easy, it's just me. No, I don't think I gave the Chief the weapon, right? Right? Because honestly, she doesn't want to be tied back to this if something goes wrong. And if she has the weapon, that ties her back to this. She just wanted to see that, like, I was armed and I was, like, serious with my plans. And I had, like, some means to enforce my will once we get all the info we need. Dalton, hey, take it easy, it's just me. Oh, right, hello, sir, I didn't see there, I was... Cadet, what's going on with those condensers? Sorry, ma'am, I'm just clearing the ejectors of Eddie. And you, Lieutenant, what are you doing bothering Cadet Grange when he's in the middle of something? Sorry, Chief, I want to check how... You can check later. Right now we're trying to get these engines running, and I'm getting enough grief from Captain Lord without you delaying things. Now get out of here and get on with whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. We got a job to do here, so stay out of our way. Understood, Chief. With that, the Chief strides away from you, leaving you with Dalton, who has already returned to the wall of controls and readouts. I guess I should leave Dalton alone. I didn't think the Chief would be impressed if I bother him anymore. I've got enough to take care of anyway. Yeah, so if I've got my item right here. Okay. Alright, I would like to look at the computers. You quickly glance around the engineering department as you approach the central computer. It didn't look like anyone had followed you, which meant you were free to spend some time investigating. My card won't have the authority to get me in here, but maybe. You lay your hands on the sides of the terminal just like the Chief had shown you, and prepare to pull at the casing. Ugh! Jumping back from the terminal and looking around, you still don't see anyone in the engineering department with you. But then, what had that noise been? Could have been one of the machines, I guess. Probably best if I don't try hacking this thing right here where people can see me. Is there another way in though? You run your hands back through your hair as you consider your options. That's mine. Oh, Cassie's maybe? Hang on. You reach into your jacket pocket and feel the hard, thin edge of a keycard. You almost yell out when Vanessa lays her hand on Cassie's hip, but you stop when you see her withdraw a keycard from Cassie's skirt pocket. Holding it between her thumb and forefinger with a flourish, she waves it at you as she stands up and walks back over to you. The central computer can only be accessed by the captain or members of operations. Good luck getting in there without this. Vanessa casually tosses you the card, which you grab out of the air. Okay. You turn the card over in your hand a few times before pocketing it. Ah, thanks, Vanessa. Now in the small room that contains the interface for the central computer, you lay your hands on the keyboard, wondering what course of action should be. One thing the system's good for is logging everything that happens on board the ship. I wonder if it'll have any records on who went into sickbay before me. That seems like a pretty easy way to find out who the killer is. Now that I think about it, I should be able to see them enter and leave. If I can find that out, it should make who killed the doctor pretty cut and dry. Let's see. You raise your hands above the keyboard, poised to start typing. You swallow nervously and bite your lip, staring at the keyboard and all the various commands. Although you'd use the surface-level functions of your terminal and datapad, you didn't use computers that often, and much of how they worked was a mystery to you. You'd never been too enthusiastic at getting to grips with them, rationalized that people were your problem, not data. With a sigh, you begin to enter commands, stopping every few keystrokes to delete a mistyped character or to pause and remember the correct format of a particular instruction. Oh, and by the way, for anyone watching who've forgotten the premise, this is sort of like an 80s style sci-fi type thing, so like that's why, you know, the computers aren't like ubiquitous, right? It's like the mysterious thing that the ship has, right? Because it's sort of doing like 80s sci-fi aesthetic, which was obviously, or even 70s, I guess. That kind of like early Star Trek, Star Wars type of aesthetic, which would have been before the ubiquity of computers, and therefore was not really included as a thing in a lot of sci-fi at that point. It takes you much longer than you'd like, but eventually you manage to pull up a long list of every time a crew member entered or exited a room. As you slowly work your way through the more recent records, you finally arrive at April 23rd, 2130, the time when you'd gone to visit Cassie. Below that was no information, sickbay 2129. How can there be no information? There's a log right there! You begin scrolling back through the records, hoping that you can figure out who it actually was by checking the other crew members' activity. You couldn't rule out somehow how the data had been corrupted, or it was possible that Vanessa had made a dummy profile somehow. As you keep scrolling through the huge number of crew movements, you notice another instance of no information appearing. No information. Crew quarters 5, 2102. That's Cassie's cabin. With a new fervor, you begin scrolling faster and faster, spotting more entries for this mysterious individual. No information, Central Computer 2021. No information, Engine Room 1933. No information, Mess Hall 1910. No information, Hangar 1850. That was just after Hansen and I crashed into the ship. When that machine crashed into the hangar too. You continue working your way down the list, but as you can see, no further entries belong to anyone other than the crew. Eventually you stop, simply staring at the screen as you try to process what you've read. Without a word, you turn around, stepping out into the engineering department. Okay, so the alien pretty quickly worked out how to open doors. It's been lurking around the ship. It might be showing no information, but those logs must have been triggered by someone. Either Vanessa's done something for a crew member or given their first appearance. You paused deep in thought about what this could mean. I've got to hurry and confront Vanessa soon. I can't let this go on much longer. Okay. Glad we checked that. Alright. In we go. You walk up to the terminal next to the surgery wing's entrance and place your hands on either side of its plastic casing. Everything I had to do to convince the chief to show me how to do this. Better be worth it. With a swift tug, you yank the top of the device's casing away, ending up with a screen still attached to the bulk of the unit by a long ribbon cable in your hands. Right. She said that all I need to do was to rotate these nodes to adjust the flow of power and unlock the door. Shouldn't be too hard, apparently. Okay, let's see. So this has to go like this. This could go either way. On this end, this has to go this way, which means this has to go this way, which means this has to go this way. So that has to go there. Huh. That has to go there. This has to go this way. You have to turn this down, then you. There, that way, and there we go. Easy. After rotating one final component, you hear a click, and the door into the surgery wing slides open. Finally. You shiver as you balance the detached screen on top of the portion of the terminal still attached to the wall. You realize that With the surgery wing door open, freezing cold air is flooding through the doorway and dropping the temperature of the main sickbay. I guess it must have reduced the temperature in there to preserve his body? You dwell on this thought, staring at the doorway until the chill becomes too much and you feel the need to get moving again. As you take a deep breath, steeling yourself for what you'll see in there, the cold air stings the back of your throat. With a fresh chill running down your spine, you step into the room. This was your first time entering this surgery wing. Any surgery wing, in fact. Although you'd been able to see into this one on the occasions you'd been inside the sickbay and the glass hadn't been frosted, the close proximity to the surgical assistants made them much more intimidating. A series of long, thin mechanical appendages were suspended from a collection of disc-like objects which themselves were attached to the room's ceiling by various supports, cables, and tubing. The room's temperature was so low you could see your own breath, which turned to condensation on certain parts of the machines, glinting with caught light as you moved around them. Directly underneath all of this was the body of Dr. Cypher Rosarium. You shudder as you approach the corpse. Although you'd encountered the bodies of the crew and the O'Brien, those weren't people that you'd interacted with, spoken with, people you'd known. Laying here on the table, the lack of vital essence in the doctor was tangible. As sedate as he'd been while he was alive, seeing him like this made your stomach turn. Hang on a second. Brushing a few errant hairs out of the way of the doctor's ocular replacement, you peer into the lens that served as a substitute for his eye. Oh, might it record? Seeing no sign of power, you move over to the doctor's arm. After some hesitation, you pick it up, and it bends easily at the elbow and wrist joints. You try moving the fingers, and they too yield with minimal effort on your part. No resistance. Doesn't look like there's any power running to it. You check the arm one more time and move back to inspect the mechanical eye. As you'd expected, you're not able to find a switch or power toggle either. What you do notice is singeing along the eyes where the device meets the doctor's skin, with the lens of the eye surrounded by a ring of black. From what you knew of prosthetics like these, they were usually powered by industrial-grade power cells. The types of cells used by the JCF were more than powerful enough to keep something like the doctor's limb running for multiple voyages. It'd be unusual for it to need replacing mid-mission, especially considering the importance of the crew member. These shouldn't have shut down. The only explanation you could think of was that they'd been damaged and knocked offline, but after another inspection, you don't see any signs of injury or physical trauma. The cybernetics themselves show no obvious signs of damage either, with the exception of the slight charring around the lens of the eye. With these scorch marks and no damage to the outside of the prosthetics, the only thing that could have done this would be a huge electric shock. The same thing that happened to the bridge crew on the O'Brien. I haven't seen anything to suggest an issue with the sickbay's electrical systems. No exposed wiring or broken machinery, so it's not like he could have done this on accident. Which means this must have been done by an electroshock weapon. I'm the only crew member who gets issued a stun gun. It doesn't seem like the ensigns took one either. They're only using standard firearms. You stay in place looking at the cold, lifeless form of the doctor. Your breath condensing in front of you, and dissipating in an uneasy rhythm. I've got what I need here. You head out the doorway, only seeing the briefest of glances of the doctor as you turn to the terminal and begin resetting the components. As the door slides shut, you clip the screen back into place and move away. What you'd found had left you with more questions than you'd gone in with, but if you were right and the doctor had been killed by electrocution, there's no way Cassie could have done it. You shiver as you consider what might have happened, the cold air that you'd released still lowering the temperature of the sickbay to an uncomfortable level. There's nothing else for me in here anymore. I should get moving. As you step into the elevator, you blow on your hands and rub them together to try to get some feeling back after having spent so long in the cold of the surgery wing. It takes your entire journey back to the central hub for the feeling in your fingers to return, and even that is tinged with an unpleasant prickling sensation. Lieutenant? Ugh! Damn it, Rumney! What the hell are you doing there with that gun? Oh, this? You know, just hanging around, making sure everything's secure. Well, you spent quite a while in the sick bay there. You feeling sick or something? Decided to self-medicate? You brushed past Tario and walked into the central hub, trailed by the ensign. No, like I keep telling you, I'm actually doing my job. Investigating what's going on. Trying to find out what's happened. Yeah. Guess that's what you've been saying. So you actually found anything yet? You paused at the question. Well, hey, don't sweat it if you haven't. Just nice to see you keeping yourself occupied. Thanks. Well, if you find something, let us know. You get how important it is that we all know what's going on. They're definitely getting suspicious. I need to get this over with before they try to get in my way. Okay. So we know about the computer. We know about the doctor. We need to try. If we could get into his datapad. The password. Hopefully it's something easy to figure out. Take a look around the sickbay and see if I can find any clues. Okay. Great, I'm going back down to the sickbay. Maybe now that I know I'm looking for clues for this, I can like look in the desk. Maybe he wrote his password down somewhere? I should take another look through these documents. We go over to the doctor's desk again and start looking through the files on the table. From what you can tell, a lot of it is administrative records of medication orders, historic treatment reports, nothing that seems like it could help you log into the datapad. With the exception of a few scribbled amendments on some of the pages, everything is printed out, making it unlikely you'll find a note of his password anywhere. You move on to the drawers. Aside from some loose electrical plugs and wires, the top one is empty. Looking at the drawer that you took the datapad out of, you see the sticky note that you peeled off it earlier. If his password is going to be anywhere, it'd be here. Device asks me to press any key to continue. Ask Cathay's location of any key not visible on keyboard. Well, device asks me to press any key to continue. Ask Cathay's location of any key not visible on keyboard. Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha. It's a misunderstanding. It says, press any key to continue. And she's asking the hip youngster, the young Cathays, of like, hey, Cathays, it says I'm supposed to press the any key. There's no key labeled any on here. The doctor cannot be serious. You lay the datapad on the table and run your hands back through your hair, letting out one long, continuous groan of frustration. The device was probably best hope of proving that Cassie and Captain Bartimeus were genuinely unwell when the blackout had happened, but without the password, you had no chance of accessing that information. Can't let this stop me. I've got to figure out that password. Okay, so if it's not here... Oh, I could look here. You pick up a few scattered boxes of medication, place them on the counter. You view them, still sealed. Yeah. Nothing. Still just the shakes. Where else could his password be? I mean, like his quarters is what I'm thinking. I've already tried that, but maybe they're going to be more open to us checking around there? Back so soon, Lieutenant? Had we told you that we had this all under control? Yeah, you did. So what, do you miss us? Or is it something you're after? You gonna tell me you want to talk about something? Well... Nah, I mean, none of those help us. You know what? Don't worry about it. Hey, well, it's been a slice. Catch you later, Craft. Our Lieutenant, don't let us catch you slacking off. Yeah. It's like... Yeah, I don't think his quarters are here, right? I haven't looked in my quarters. Maybe I can access... I don't know. My current uniform is clean on today. Don't need a new one. What on my computer? Unlike Cassie's turn, my mind's actually in a condition where I can use it if I need to. Hope she's doing alright. I wish I could... Wait a second. You sit down in front of the console and navigate to the electronic mail function. Ah, email. I hadn't even considered that. Opening up a new message you begin to type. It's not a long message, but you let Cassie know that you're thinking of her and reassure her that everything will be alright. If you get a response, you think maybe you could plan something together, find out her side of the story. Once complete, you send the message and step away from the terminal. You have to check about later because... Oh! Rushing back to the interface, you see a message waiting for you on the screen. You waste no time in opening it. Where you'd hoped to see a response from Cassie, instead all you saw was an automated notification that her access had been restricted alongside a length of text advising you to contact operations if you felt this was an error. You stand back to stop yourself from striking the machine in frustration. Don't worry, Cassie. It's not going to be this way for long. Okay. So where... So... Wasn't anything... A note of his was the only thing close to clue and wasn't exactly helpful. Maybe it's... Maybe he literally made his password any key. Guess that wasn't it. Any key, no space? What kind of password they asked to use? Any key? Maybe someone who's served with him longer would know? Not that either. Could be here all day trying to guess this password. My best bet might be asking someone else. At least they could give me a fresh perspective on it. I don't know, maybe the chief would be able to help me on this one. Hey, Chief! The Chief's currently working on some part of the engine. It looks pretty intense. I've got what I need from her, maybe... Oh, maybe Dylan. Dylan, perhaps. Yo, Dylan! Hey, Lieutenant, what's going on? It's going alright, Dylan. How about you? See anything that I should know about? Nothing much. Space, more space. And if the space starts looking weird, I'll definitely give you a shout out, though. Thank you for your vigilance. No sweats. How about you? You got any hot evidence that'll blow the case wide open, Detective? Well, actually, you fish the doctor's datapad out of your jacket pocket and hand it over to the gunner. This was Dr. Rosario's. I hoped to find something on it, but I've not been able to get into it because he's got a password. Do you know how to get around that? Password, huh? Did he, like, leave it written down somewhere or anything? Leave himself any hints? Not that I've been able to find. Although, you reach into your jacket pocket and pull out the notes that you'd found in the same drawer as the datapad and pass it over. Dude, really? Seems that way. Huh. Actually, give me a second. Sure. Dylan passes the note back to you, and you scrunch it up in your pocket, watching as he starts typing what he thinks might be the potential passwords. Within 10 seconds, as relaxed as ever, he passes back to you. His screen now showing you full access to the doctor's data. What was it? Password. What? Yeah, for real. Figured a guy who'd look for the any key would follow a computer's instructions to the letter. You ever notice how the login screen said enter password? Oh my. You shove the datapad back into your pocket and begin massaging your temples. You're welcome, by the way. Yeah, sorry. Thanks. This crew, I swear. Hey, I hear there. Anything else I can do for you? Any other clues need cracking? Not right now. Well, you know where to find me. Thanks, Dylan. Okay. Let's take a look then. So this is similar to my own tasks. Yeah, the doctor's task looks like he's sorted by patient. He's even put timestamps on everything. That's pretty handy. Ah, here's Cassie. She was given sedatives at 21:22. I came by to see her at roughly 21:30. There's no way she could have attacked him just after being given sedatives, let alone kill him. This would be great at proving her innocence. I'd like to see Vanessa argue against this. I wonder if I can find something for the captain on here, too. The doctor would have visited her shortly after the blackouts. There must be something. Hanson... Bartimeus. Okay. And right here, provided treatment for rehydrate with glucose electrolyte mix. Okay. This looks like it contains the medical records of everyone on board the Gun-Dog. If I go any further, I'll be looking at some really sensitive material, but there could be something in here that helps me. I need to make sure I only look at what I need to. Let's look at Cassie, see if there's anything that could be hinted, like what the underlying cause for condition. Alright, Cassandra Quinn, 0101-189, Europa Colony 1. Alright, patient delivered to sickbay unconscious, sudden onset migraines and loss of consciousness. Current scans remain inconclusive indications of neurological condition will require escalation to the Colony Medical Center if scan set 3 provides no avenue for effective treatment. Gastric disease, ongoing treatment, standard meals to be substituted with Nutri-Shake powder. Interesting. What about the captain? That's Cathais, that's not the captain. Okay, Bartimeus, right. Here we go. Unresponsive due to alcohol-induced Visagia. The captain's not going to like this coming out, but it shows she was in no condition to be doing much of anything when the blackout happened. That information should be helpful in proving that she didn't have anything to do with that. Definitely shows she wasn't just ignoring her duties. Not knowingly, at least. I'd give you something to show that both Cassie and the captain were genuinely out of action when the power went off. This should be all I need from his records. Okay. Has refused antidepressant medications, chronic hypertension. I wonder what they have on me. That's not me. Am I anyone? I am curious though. Fracture, PTSD, recurring complaints regarding low impact conditions, no positive diagnosis stage, potential hypochondria. Yeah, that makes sense for her. What about Haru? Investigated for enhanced sensory potential following 3 consecutive wins in youth frame racing championships. Results inconclusive, further assessment required. Okay, well, whatever. With this, I can show that the captain was in no state to be doing anything like sabotage around the time of the blackouts. That note about the sedatives being administered also pretty much rules Cassie out, or Cassie, as the doctor's killer. Thanks for being so thorough, Dr. Rosario. I'm sorry I was able to get to you sooner. Okay. So we got a decent bit of evidence. Do we talk to the ensigns now? Or maybe let's start with Dylan. Hey Dylan. What's going on? Lieutenant, need my ace sacking skills again? Not right now. I'm just here to check up on you though. Have you seen anything or anyone suspicious on board recently? Dylan gestures from his screens to the general direction of the hangar. I mean, aside from that, has there been anything that's caught your attention? Anything at all? Sorry, Lieutenant, you know me. But in that little meeting we just had on the bridge, I've been sat in here doing sweet FA since we launched, I guess. Alright. Well, if you see anything that, I got it, Lieutenant. Okay. Hey, Lieutenant, going somewhere? You're going quietly as Hanson walks up beside you. You hadn't been aware that he'd been following you. You hadn't even noticed him enter the Foreside thoroughfare with you. How long had he been there? What is it, Cruz? I spoke with you just a few minutes ago. You want to give me another spiel about how you're keeping an eye on things? I know, trust me. But I got work to do, so... Yeah, about that. Guess we were being too subtle for you. Captain asked us to make sure you weren't doing anything suspicious, and I'm gonna be honest. You've been nothing but suspicious since you started roaming around the ship like a lost cadet. I'm gonna take you up to have a word with the captain about your conduct. Get real, Hansen. I'm busy. Not asking, Lieutenant. Bridge, move. Raise your arms slowly and turn around, heading towards the central hub's elevators. Every so often, Hansen thrusts the gun into your back if he feels you're not moving fast enough, but you maintain the same steady pace. As the two of you board the elevator together, you resign yourself to what's happening. You knew you'd have to confront Vanessa eventually, but hope that'd be on your own terms. You clear your mind of possibilities. This was the moment you'd been preparing for. This was it.